emotional needs or anything like that. I don't know if you ever learned that, but I did. I was just out there grinding. And you know what a lot of us men do? We get caught up in what the world says. And my favorite book, it says, don't conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. At that time, I hadn't been renewed. I just was doing what all guys I knew did. And I didn't listen to her. And not long after that, she left. She took my son and she left me. And I was devastated. And I don't know about you, but when stuff like that used to happen to me, I used to blame the other person. I wouldn't look in the mirror and say, what did I do to deserve what happened to me? I mean, if I would have listened to her, there could have been a lot of things changed. But, you know, I'm not going to go there now because I've got a new wife and new family and all this other stuff. So I'm not going to go there. But if I would have suffered a lot less if I would have paid attention to it. And I'll ask you this, Steve, because I pretty much know the answer. Has someone ever given you the answer up front and you just didn't pay attention to it?
Yeah, but let me count the ways, you know, and the number of times. A lot of times we know things and we just put it off because it's not convenient right now. And a lot of people say, well, I know I'm going to do that, but I'm not ready to do it yet because they're having too much fun. They're too wrapped up, too much pleasure they're involved in, or whatever the reason. But yeah, that's my answer to that.
One of the times I see, you know, I think, to be honest, I think the biggest gap in life isn't between what we know and don't know. The biggest gap in life is between what we know and don't do. Because most often we know what we're supposed to do. There's that still small voice. There's that, you know, back when we were kids, there used to be like little cartoons where you see the devil on one side of your shoulder and the angel on the other side. We know somebody's telling us, and then we just don't do that. But so as I was following through this philosophy, I decided then, after I lost my family, that I would go back to my roots and always take care of my family, because that's what I was raised. My mom and my dad, they went through a whole bunch of stuff, but what they did was always look to take care of their family. So let's fast forward a few other years. I'm a senior master sergeant. I'm stationed at RAF Lakenheath in England. Another one of those cold, wet, dreary, but this time it was a summer day. England it could be beautiful, but it can always be cold, wet, and dreary. And I got a call from the wing commander, and the wing commander was more like the mayor of a city or the governor of a state, or let's call it the warden of an institution. That's how big a deal this guy was. So I get a call from this guy and says, hey, Sergeant Fate, got an opportunity for you. Want you to stay in England for a couple of years and become my deputy inspector general. Now, this is a big deal because I'm an enlisted guy. I was enlisted in a deputy IG is a officer position, a senior officer position at that. And I figured that if I get this job, I would get to stay in England for a little longer so my son can graduate high school. In the military, every couple of years, I was traveling to different states doing different things. And my kids never really got a chance to be in a spot for very long. And so I figured by going through this process, if I stayed in England, I can do something for my son and let my son graduate high school with his buddies, which would have been amazing. So I went to the chief master sergeant. This guy was the senior enlisted person on the base. And I asked him a question. I said, hey, I got this opportunity to stay. And if I stay, my son will get a chance to graduate high school with his friends. And the chief told me that he thought it would be a bad idea if I did that, because staying at a base for too long could negatively affect me getting promoted. Now, the chief was doing this for my own good. How many people in your family, your friends have done something that they thought was for your own good or for your good fun or for the stuff that you wanted to do? They didn't want you to leave your comfort zone or theirs. I mean, it's happened to me many a times, but he was out there trying to help me. But I was stuck because, Steve, this is where I was. It was like I could get promoted and hurt my son, or I could take care of my son and never get promoted again. It was almost like that situation. What am I going to do? Am I going to be a good dad, or am I going to be a good airman? Am I going to be a good dad or a good airman? And I was it was ripping me apart. And I went into the chief's office. I was feeling like King Kong, man, I tell you. And I walked out like Cheetah, you know, the little monkey on Tarzan. This is how I felt. I was terrible. I just wasn't doing well. And I ran and I went to my office, and my boss, a guy named James Dickerson, told me something that I will never forget. Never forget it. And this is one of the things, this is a message for you and everybody that's listening, Steve. Sometimes you got to go to somebody that knows what's happening. Somebody that's a mentor, somebody that's a trusted agent, somebody that's got your best thoughts in mind, somebody that's been there and done that and asked a question. And this guy spoke into my life, and he encouraged me. And Colonel Dickerson said something I'll never forget. He said, if you make chief, you're going to be a chief for a little while, but you're going to be a dad for the rest of your life. And being a dad is more than about being a dad. It's about building a dad. And the kind of dad you are to your son will be the kind of dad that he's going to be to his children. And that kind of hit me hard, because nobody's ever put those words to me like that it is more important to take care of your family, or to follow your philosophy, your definite major purpose, than just be going out there doing any and everything. Jim Rohn, a great motivational speaker and philosopher, he said something to me that I think he didn't say it to me, he said in one of his books. He said, be careful of what you're going for because of what it may make you at the end, right? So I was going for the win at work, but I was leaving my family out. So in this situation, Colonel Dickerson taught me a lesson that I should always take care of my family. Now, why is that important? Well, I decided to follow through and be the dad that I should be for my son. My son got to graduate with his buddies. He met his wife, who is the mother of two of my three grandchildren. And I have an opportunity to be a granddad, and he actually gets to be a good dad, because I actually got a chance to show him what family's about. So think about it. What is your why? Why are you there? And your philosophy will lead you to greater helps, because to me, philosophy is like a North Star, Steve. If you don't have a North Star, you remember in our favorite book, I like to say my favorite book, it says without vision, what happens? The people perish.
You perish.
People perish. And actually, my first marriage perished because I didn't keep my eye on the prize. I wasn't focused on what I need to do. So I'll ask you out there, anybody, think about this, write this down. What is your philosophy? Who are you? What are you about? What do you know? And what do you do with what you know? Because it's not enough to just say, I know, but what do you do with what you know? And I think that'll serve each and every one of us well, whether we're transitioning from the military, when we are a returning citizen, whether we're a father. And listen, I messed up with my first son, but my first son and I have a wonderful relationship now, because I didn't just leave it there. I went back, apologized, talked to him, and I made retribution for what I'd done. So what is your philosophy? Take some time. It's not a think about, it's a go do. Take some time to figure out what your philosophy is. And if you can live your life by your philosophy, you can do well in any endeavor. So that's my thing on philosophy, Steve. What are your thoughts?
Well, Lefford, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And, we've had the pleasure to do maybe 9 or 10 radio shows together, and we've traveled and we've talked. I mean, we got a lot of time here. We probably talked for a couple hundred hours just in straight conversation to try to talk about what's our purpose. But we always go to the main thing. It's not just what our purpose is. It's how we take our purpose, which is to make the world a better place. And how do we apply that and help other people do it also? And so I think I want to listen to you, Lefford. They got a chance to listen to me 20 or 30 hours in this curriculum that I'm doing, but you're the guest today, and I love it. I just want to share you with them more. So please continue.
Right. I mean, and thank you for that. One of the things, but if you have a great philosophy, it's just like faith without works is dead. Philosophy without, the rest of this roadmap is basically a pipe dream, because you can have a great philosophy, but I think the most important thing after philosophy is relationship. because relationships matter. Take care of them and they'll take care of you. Now, both you and I, this isn't a religious show, but both of us will always talk about our greatest relationship is with our Lord and Savior, right? Relationships matter. Take care of them and they'll take care of you. But there's a spiritual and there's a physical. Because one of the things that you and I have not talked about much, we'll do this on another show, is that we are spiritual beings gifted with intellect on the physical plane. Spiritual beings gifted with intellect on the physical plane. So basically for me, we have connection, a relationship with our Creator, and we connect with that source all the time. So what are those relationships? Our relationships is our relationships in Christ. But again, the reason that I'm on this show right now is because of a relationship that I developed with Jeff Heiser, which was another John Maxwell guy who served in the Navy. I served in the Air Force, and we connected and talked. He interviewed me on his show and connected me with Steve because both of us have a desire to support and help people that have been incarcerated and returning into society. I gave a TED talk based on correcting corrections, why I'm in prison, based on people that I saw that were incarcerated that maybe had mental health issues, maybe came out of bad environments. And so based on that conversation, that relationship, he introduced me to you, Steve. You had me on your show, and we developed a wonderful relationship to help us both grow. Based on that relationship, you connected me to Don Green, the executive director of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And I was engaged, and you gave me an opportunity to do two of my greatest desires. One is to serve my fellow man, and the other is to take care of veterans. Spent 31 years in the military. I lost a lot of people. One of my best friends died at 53 years old because he couldn't transition well from the military to civilian. And so he got into drinking. He refused to go get help from a mental health professional, psychiatrist. So he would just talk to me and other folk, and he didn't transition well, and he ended up dying. And so I never wanted that to happen to anybody else, not just my friends, but anybody else. I wanted to be able to serve. And you, based on our relationship, you put me in contact with one of your mentors. And it's not just any old person. This is one of the top people in the world. You put me in contact with him. Based on our relationship, he gave me a chance. He actually sat down and spoke to me and talked to me and listened, and is helping me realize my dream to write a book to help veterans in that transition so we don't have to lose any more people. So relationships matter, bro.
I just want to interject something here. I wasn't going to interrupt you much today. I won't listen to it, but no. Now, Don Green is doing one of these messages to the returning citizens, just like you're doing today. He's one of the people that I've asked to do messages because this is the best I can give people. And I just want to continue something you said about associations and mentors. After Jeff Heiser introduced me to you, you ended up introducing me to John Hagen, and John Hagen is incredible. And so I got to meet John Hagen, and I went to a corrections annual American Association of Corrections, and John Hagen introduced me to the organization that is making it possible for us to be here doing this curriculum and these messages. And so it just keeps on going when you surround yourself with the right people. And that's one of the cornerstones of success. Hey, by the way, Lefford, I gotta put this in, and I won't go too much long on it, but that's how we like to engage. On the show that I listened to last night that you're delivering the same basic message today, you specifically asked when you started, what is your definition of success? What does success mean to you? And I think you went a little different direction today, which is, you got books and books. You're a best-selling writer and an international motivational speaker. I think you've been receiving some wonderful accolades with Toastmasters speaker of the year, and it might be national or South Carolina, at least I know. But what I'm trying to say is this: I thought a whole lot about it. I couldn't give a quick definition of success. I felt kind of a little inadequate for a moment while I was listening to you, because I was into some deep thinking as I was following what you're talking about. And here's what I came up with: success for me is waking up every day and being thankful for the life that I've got, no matter what is going on, and knowing, absolutely knowing